What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. About 6 weeks ago or so, we took a look at some off-meta champions that I thought were extremely powerful. Well, the meta's shifted around a bit, and I love this topic of powerful off-meta champions, because when you're playing an off-meta champion, you get this kind of like a surprise factor in terms of the pick, in that your opponents don't really know what to expect. And as long as the champion itself is actually still good in its own right, that surprise factor, that off-meta bonus, can really go further than you think. On top of that, I kinda just enjoy off-meta champions a lot more, because it's fun to play things that nobody else does. So today we're back at it again with 7 new amazing non-meta champions for solo queue. The way we judge if something is a non-meta pick or not is the statistic of their play percentage. If a champion has a popularity less than 3%, it's fair to see them as being non-meta, because it means they're played in about 1 out of every 50 games, sometimes even less. So all of these picks do fall into that category, and I included one for every role and a couple bonus ones, so there should be something for everyone. As well, I've partnered up with ProGuides.com for the editing on this video. They recently released a new service that allows you to ask questions to higher ranked players and get a reply within under a single minute. And they have a free trial that does get you full access to their site, so you don't have to take it from me, you can decide for yourself if you like it or not. Anyways, let's get started. Our first champion that I have for you today might see a little bit of a rise in popularity after being played in the LCS, but at a pick rate of 0.1%, it's hard to see him as meta in any way, shape, or form, despite his popularity at the competitive level, and it's Urgot in the mid lane. Urgot's an awesome champion for the mid lane, and the biggest factor for his success comes from being an incredible counter pick. Urgot's an amazing counter pick versus any assassin, or really any burst damage champion in mid lane. He's a lot tankier than any normal mid laner, but he still has the tools to put up a fight since he has some long range harass and some strong utility. And his ultimate is powerful enough to give you kill pressure in any lane, and really just completely wrecks any assassin. If an assassin dives in on you, you can just ult them instantly, and you get super tanky, put them in a bad spot, deny their combo, and you get a chance for a counter engage. Urgot's a champion that was weak for a long time, but he's been buffed recently a couple patches ago, and that buff put in some work, and now Urgot's in a great spot. However, be a bit careful though, as Urgot is likely to struggle versus poke mages in the mid lane. A lot of his strength is based on the fact that he is an amazing counter pick, but if you're the type of person who just hates assassins and hates playing against assassins, well, since we are in kind of an assassin meta in the mid lane, Urgot's a great option for you. Next up, we have Sion in the top lane, who has a play rate of just a bit over 2%. It's no secret that Iceborne Gauntlet, Sunfire Cape, and Grasp of the Undying are a little bit overpowered right now, and as a result, top lane has shifted into a tank meta quite heavily after a lot of the counterpicks to tanks like Fiora were nerfed. Sion is an amazing tank, and he makes really solid use of those 2 strong items and Grasp of the Undying. Since he has a lot of ranged harass and his shield, his laning phase is really solid, and although it might take a handful of games to get used to using his ultimate, once you actually do, it's an incredible tool. You can pull off some hilarious roams, initiate teamfights, create picks, and do all sorts of things with it to get you kills. You can also kind of cheese the enemy jungler too if you take teleport, by stealing their buff at level 1 if they start bot side. The tank items in the game right now are honestly just overtuned quite a bit, and Sion is one of those super powerful mega tanks that can really just pump out every ounce of use from those items being so powerful, much more so than any other champion, who just happen to be building tank because they can now. Some people find tanks to be maybe a little bit boring to play, but I kind of like them actually just because they're relatively easy mechanically, and Sion is no different. Speaking of the tank meta, another champion who can actually take advantage of that quite well is Warwick in the jungle. Warwick sits at a play rate of about 2.5%, and he's a solid option right now because not only is he a tank himself, but he also performs incredibly well versus other tanks, since he gets to build Devour and potentially Blade of the Rune King if you want to, as well as the powerful tank items. And his in-combat sustain ensures that he's probably never going to lose a 1v1 to a tank. Once you hit level 6, you become this unstoppable machine for ganking too. His ultimate is just this awesome point and click tool that's one of the most reliable ways to take down a target with the help of an ally, and it should allow you to get a lead or at least some kills in literally every single game, as well as create picks later on. His pre-6 is a little bit weak though, so you do have to be careful for early jungle invades, but since his sustain is so good, you can usually just power farm and counter gank lanes until you get level 6, and then start looking to be proactive with your ultimate. Warwick's a great option if you want someone who is really consistent and reliable in terms of power because of his ultimate, or if you want to maybe play someone who counters tanks pretty well. Next up, we're heading down to the bottom lane with Brand Support, who has a play rate of 2%. Brand is interesting to me because a while back, quite recently, he was definitely a meta pick, and he's fell a lot from popularity due to some minor nerfs and meta shifts, but honestly he's still really good, and definitely deserves a little bit more play. He struggles a lot versus Soraka, but that's probably the main matchup he has trouble with, and Soraka is a champion that is frequently banned, so it's okay to just ban her yourself, or maybe you ask a teammate to ban Soraka for you if you want to play Brand Support. Brand has always been a really cool support champion to me because he takes this support playstyle and puts this spin on it that brings a ton of damage to the role. And although damage isn't necessary for a champion to be a good support, in solo queue especially, it's an amazing thing to have. Since he deals tons of damage, your laning phase with Brand Support becomes really powerful. And if you ever get a lead, which is easy to do because his laning is so strong, you can start to build damage items and run away with the game almost as if you were a second mid laner for your team. It's not unlikely at all for you to become a real damage threat in any game as Brand Support, and that take on the support playstyle is a lot more fun and exciting than a lot of the other meta support champions. And for the tandem partner down at the bot lane as well, we have someone who's maybe a little bit weird to put on a list like this, but it's Graves AD Carry. And you might be saying like, okay, hey Jeremy, what the heck are you doing, man? Graves is totally a meta champion. And you'd be completely right. Graves is most certainly a meta champion. However, Graves AD Carry is not a meta champion. It actually has a play rate of about 2%. And although Graves has a ban rate of about 20%, which is honestly high enough to be relevant, and it artificially lowers his pick rate, I really wanted to include a champion for every role on the list, and Graves was the only AD Carry champion that had a pick rate less than 3% that I'm comfortable recommending for you guys to play. And although Graves is mostly played in the top and the jungle, he's most certainly an awesome choice for the bot lane too. Everything that contributes to him being strong in the other roles makes him strong on AD Carry as well. He's got really solid damage in laning and a huge burst combo at level 6 to secure some kills, but he's also really tanky, which makes him great at brawling out opponents. He's this unique take on the AD Carry role because he's a lot less about kiting and getting as many auto attacks as possible in, and a lot more about waiting for the right moment to just go in and unload on someone, while still outputting a little bit of damage here and there. For our next champion, we're taking it back up to the top lane with Fizz Top, who has a play rate of a bit under 2%. But this isn't just any Fizz Top, we're talking full tank Fizz Top, with the Sunfire and Iceborne Gauntlet tandem duo to back you up, with the Grasp of the Undying to boot. Similar to Tank Echo, Tank Fizz is the kind of champion that succeeds based on the sense that his kit is quite overloaded, and he's able to make use of the tank items quite well. It sounds pretty awkward. I mean, Tank Fizz, like, isn't he supposed to be an assassin? Well, with the damage amplification on his ultimate, mixed damage in his kit comboed with the sustained damage his W brings, and he really doesn't need AP items at all to try to kill people, and his utility gives you more than enough options to be able to reliably take down targets if they try to escape. While you build tank items, you get to be super tanky while also still accomplishing your goal of assassinating a target. You go Sunfire Cape and then Iceborne Gauntlet into some bruisery AP items like Abyssal Scepter and Zhonya's, and you're still putting out some insane burst, while also being impossible for anyone to kill, because not only do you have the mobility and escape that Fizz always brings to the table, you got some crazy tank stats to back it up now. And even if you're put in the situation where you're lacking a little bit of damage, Fizz does always have sustained damage due to his W, so you're able to just brawl it out with someone, kite them around, and then maybe finish them off with that last tick of the missing % health damage. He's a great choice for anyone looking to maybe find a unique and fun way to play the top lane that still takes advantage of these super powerful tank items right now. And next up, we're taking things back over to the mid lane with Quinn, who has a play rate of just a little bit above 0.5%. Although Quinn is a little bit more common to see in the top lane, it's honestly really surprising to me that her play rate in the mid lane is 0.6%. Sure, Quinn was nerfed recently on patch 6.6, and I mean, yeah, okay, she deserved the nerf, but that doesn't mean she's a weak champion right now. She's still incredibly powerful. Just because a champion gets nerfed doesn't make them worth not playing, and Quinn still has just the same strength as before. She's still this massive lane bully with huge harass while also still having the assassination potential to back it up. Her roaming is just fantastic. Once you get your ultimate, you're zipping around the map like crazy, and playing her mid allows you to take full advantage of the strengths her ultimate brings to make plays and carry the game. And she plays a lot like an assassin too, but has a lot more benefits, so you can punish squishy mages in lane, but since she also has good harass with a decent escape, you can perform reasonably well in lane against other assassins too. She's a great duelist, and the impact her roaming strength can have should not be underestimated. She's a great option for anyone looking for a champion that can solo carry games by themselves, since she has the ability to dominate her own lane, while also affecting the side lanes really well too. And that's just about it for the list. Do you have any non-meta champions that you think are seriously strong? Leave a comment, and if you do, I'll try and check them out. That's going to be it for today. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you didn't hit that dislike, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.